Damn, I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of weird, but I guess I should just get used to it. You know, I just put the wide angle lens on. I never really used the wide angle lens before, so I think that's very interesting. But just I guess we're gonna talk about the ups and downs of life right now because man, it's going up and it's going down. So I guess this story is gonna be more so about how I went from working part time to now I just signed an offer for 100K. You know, and I think that anybody can do this because I don't have a college degree. I don't have any particularly, outstanding trades. I don't think so. I mean, maybe I do because I make YouTube videos, but I feel like I'm just a regular dude in America, man. And it's possible. So let me give y'all the backdrop. You know, on my page, you might see some car videos, me talking and having realizations. Figured I'd be outside today with it. And usually my content is about Japan, which this will tie into. But I guess, you know, I got laid off like maybe a year or two ago. And I took a boot camp for tech sales because I thought, shoot, man, sales is like the quickest way to just get everything you want, like legitimately. The multiplier is there. It's a force multiplier if you know how to sell stuff, and that's in any industry. Everybody needs it, and it's hard to find, I guess, good people that do it. So, took the boot camp. Then I ended up being at a private equity firm randomly. Like, I didn't even know that's what it was. I thought it was a weed control company, but it wasn't. It was a private equity firm, and that's kind of where I got my start. And even though I didn't learn a lot of sales techniques there, I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't. Um, uh-oh. Miss, what was I saying? Chickens are, chickens are so noisy, man. Like chickens are super noisy. Jeez, they just go all day. But yeah. Like I was saying, a little technical difficulty there. But I had went to the private equity firm. Didn't really learn too much sales stuff, but did network and did do well there until I got laid off, unfortunately. Which it is what it is, right? So then I started working at just a part-time thing where I was just doing, you know, I think it was catering. I was doing catering at tech companies. And at that point, I had met a whole bunch of people. And I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of what changed things for me. You've been around those people every day for like 3 or 4 months, and that's kind of where I was. Didn't know if I wanted to do sales anymore. And 3 or 4 months went by, I started meeting people, the VP of sales, regional directors, people who are just in higher positions. And they just showed me how to think about stuff, gang. I ain't gonna lie, gang. They showed me how to think about so much stuff to make my path a lot easier than what it would have been. And eventually I was applying and I got in. I got into a company. And that company, I'm not going to name it right now because I'm going to say some bad shit about them. But I got into the company and, immediately when I got in, I was like, dang, this is not what I thought. They kind of just hired you and say, get to work pretty much. I mean, we had 3 days of training. That means I don't understand anything that I'm selling. And they just want me to follow this, what they call a call flow. And then everything would be good. And some people did well, but I think they had more experience than I did selling stuff. And it wasn't about relationship building at this place. It was about like making the actual sale or AKA booking a meeting. And that's essentially what I did, until my dad got cancer. Or at least he got diagnosed with cancer, like early on. And when he got diagnosed, I had a lot of feelings. I was sad. I was taking care of him and it felt like a burden and it was just a lot, bro. So my performance as far as not metrics with actually booking meetings, but like the way I handled the calls was a lot different. And to be honest, the job wasn't rocking with that. I took half a month off to kind of attend to my dad and then I ran out of days. So I had to end up taking non-paid days off, which affected the bread. And so they put me on what they call a PIP, or a performance improvement plan, gang. And that performance plan was some BS off top. So I had to average a 4 or a 5 on the way that I handle calls. And I was like, okay. But it wasn't really explicitly stated that, hey, if you don't handle the calls or if you don't get to the part of the call where, you can book the meeting, that's going to count against you. Now, I don't know if y'all know about sales and tech, but it's all about volume usually. So you'll have a lot of volume. And so majority of the time, do you think you're going to talk to more or less people? You know, majority of the time people are busy. You're going to talk to less people. Let's be real. I don't even pick up phone numbers I don't know. Don't call. You got to leave me a message and then hope that I call you back. That's how I am. Or you could text me if you're a person that I know, regardless of the situation. That's what happened. They were grading my calls, and they were grading 1 and 2 minute calls, and those 1 and 2 minute calls obviously didn't get very far. And so, 2 weeks into this performance plan, I only have 4 weeks on it. I'm averaging a 2, and I got an average of 4. So if you do the math, mathematically, I would be ruled out because they pick random calls, and then they grade those calls. And then those graded calls aren't that long. And so I just keep like lowering the average and lowering the average, and that's when I understood, oh, I think they're just trying to fire me. And they'll tell you all the stuff like, oh yeah, we're trying to keep you here, we're trying to make sure, you succeed, we really care, blah blah blah. They don't. I'm gonna be real, they don't. I think an understanding leader wouldn't have put me on a PIP to begin with. They would have said, hey, Josh, you're going through some things. Look, how about you take a step back real quick and come back refreshed, and then let's see how you perform next month. That probably would have been a better play. But that's not what they did. That's not what they wanted to do. So it just kind of is what it is. They're running this place like a call center, And so I'm here, I'm not getting better. So you know what? I just decided to quit, bro. I ain't gonna lie, gang. I just quit. And I'm at this point where I haven't worked in like 2 months because I saved. And I'm a little bit poor now because I had the budget, but I quit. That's just the reality. And I thought, man, I'm better than this, And they just set me up for failure anyway. So why continue to try, bro? That's kind of how I felt. Like, why even try, gang? It's just no point. So I quit 2 weeks ago, started applying. I got hit up by this other tech company. They're a pretty big company, I'm not going to lie. They are multinational, not like my place, where it's like they're kind of just in America. Nah, this place is multinational. And they do require me to be in the office 3 times a week, but that's not a big deal breaker, right? But the thing is, when I signed the offer letter, it was $100K. Like, my total earnings every year will be $100K plus now. And I never thought I would be in this position. I ain't gonna lie. I just didn't think I'd be in this position. This will definitely accelerate my planning to go to Japan. But it's just a monumental change, man. And I thank God for that because, man, it's going to shift a lot. The leadership is better. The product is better. Everything is just better. Overall, everything is just better. And now I'm sitting here with the opportunity to, if I do the basic stuff, like if I meet the minimum requirements every single month, which is way, way, way less pressure than what I was dealing with before, although I guess it's more qualification, which is fine. More qualification is fine. If people want to take the meetings and they're interested and they got time and budget and a need, I can book them. And I can get all of that information off top, But I interviewed well. I got scored very well, like very, very highly. She's like, oh, you're one of the highest scored people that we've hired and or that we've offered. And now that I'm officially onboarded, man, yeah, I'm going to be starting pretty soon. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So maybe that's not really that soon. But I'm going to be starting relatively soon. And that's how I went from, being laid off and I didn't really get fired. I kind of quit before I got fired, but getting fired to now making $100K a year. Because the reality is, this is the type of sale that I'm probably going to be better at. Not going to lie. This is the type of sale that I'm probably going to kill every single time, So I want to say that you could do this too. I'm not special, bro. I'm 34. I'm still staying at home, saving bread. That's all I'm doing. And I'm going to have a big decision, Do I leave the 100K behind to go to Japan once a year and a half is up? Do I leave that? Or do I continue to elevate my career and possibly get into leadership, And once I get into leadership, it's going to be even more money, Now I'll be making 200, 250, at a tech company. That's a question I got to ask myself. Like, could that be a reality for me? It's something we got to see, man. It's something we got to see. But you could do that too. If you really want it, man, in America, bro, I feel like, look at these birds, bro. They just walked up to each other and just started talking. Let me see if I can show y'all this shit. No, you can't even see the birds. Yeah, you can't see the birds. Okay. Well, whatever. The birds just walked up and started talking to each other. It was kind of crazy. But yeah, y'all can do it too, man. I went from working part-time to making 100K, bro, a year. Like, that's a crazy jump. No degree. And yeah, I'm just proof of that. I would say, any tips, it would just be to refine a skill. It doesn't have to be, something crazy. But if you can do anything in like IT, if you could do anything in AI, if you could do anything with talking to people and persuading people, which is sales, that's all sales is, you got a real good shot to make some good money. And the way I think about it is just like leverage, leverage. Sales is leverage because sales equals money. So sales will equal leverage. Make sure that you have something that's high leverage, something that not a lot of people can do, or not a lot of people know. Like, information is leverage as well, You can get leverage over people by blackmailing them. That's the type of leverage, right? But do something that you feel like is high leverage. If a lot of people don't know how to do it, sell the way to do it. If a lot of people ask you the same question and you're a guy that they just keep asking you this same question over and over again, like for me, it's for people asking me, hey man, what do you think about my plan to move to Japan? Bro, I got a guide for moving to Japan at this point because I've been asked that same question so many times at this point. But leverage, I always think about that, man. But that's pretty much the video. Just at the park with it, a little bit different, but it's just real. Out here yapping. Ain't nobody here. People are in school, so I figured why not, man. But yeah, I'll holler at y'all boys in the next video. See y'all. Peace.